Sorry, just had to send out the last text.
What the heck? We're live. There's people watching us, and you're stuck in that phone thingy.
I know. But, think about it. How often are we texting a day? It's not always the best thing, but sometimes it's just the most convenient thing to do when you can't pick up a phone.
Well, you know what? It's basically a way people communicate nowadays.
It absolutely is.
One of the things that we did here, because we're talking about texting, don't call, all right? And we're all having a little trouble getting over the hump that texting may not be as impersonal as it. Well, it isn't personal, but it's accepted.
What about emojis and GIFs?
Yeah, well, that's kind of
pushing the boundaries
a
little bit.
But when you get the smiley guy and all that stuff, or the pile of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? I think what it comes down to, it's just the most common way to communicate anymore. And it's simpler, it's easier, it's a lot of less wasted time on your team, whether it's phone calls not being answered, having to leave voicemails, then wait for the return back, and so on like that. So I think we have a couple of really great statistics that we should start discussing just to prove our point.
Right, and that's the thing that I suggest you find, folks, is go on the internet and just do a quick search, because when you start seeing some of the details about texting and the way it's been growing and the fact that it's bigger and bigger all the time, we all got to get on board.
Exactly. All right, so what are some of your favorite texting statistics? I know I have a couple, but I'll let you go first.
One of the ones that I found, and these are all from textrequest.com, the average adult spends 23 hours a week texting. Who the heck is spending almost a whole day? Never mind.
What do you mean?
Americans text twice as much as they call. And that makes sense right now, because bing, bing, bing. And less time it takes me to dial a phone number, I could send you a text.
Absolutely.
So that makes a lot of sense. One of the things that's coming out of all this is that only 48% of businesses are accepting text.
So it's a big opportunity, specifically for automotive shops that are very, it's a time-sensitive thing. It's so important for automotive shops to add to the convenience of their location by simply giving their customers the option to text.
Definitely, because the other statistic I'm going to throw at you, I'm sorry, I'm throwing a lot of stuff
at you. No, I love it.
78% of the people wish that they could have a text conversation with their business. Your business. It's there. It's growing. Take a look. I look at these all the time, because we're always talking about texting here. And over the years that I've been here with Bolt-On, I've watched these statistics grow and grow and grow.
Sure.
And I think it's time that we, again, with the digital inspections, we got to start thinking about digital conversations.
That's a really great way to put it. And I have some statistics. They vary slightly from some of the ones that we pulled in a general landscape. But, when we look at some of the biggest problems in the shop is that people aren't answering their phones. And a lot of times it's because customers are dropping their cars off at the beginning of the day. Maybe they're heading into work. Maybe they're heading into a meeting. So it's just not ideal for them to pick up their phone, have a phone call, and move on from there. Texting makes it that much more efficient, because it's a simple approve, not approve, get your point across. So there is that informality there that some people look at, but when it comes to just being efficient, customer wants their car back as soon as possible, because that puts a bit of a roadblock in their day. And the shop also needs to know if they can move those cars out of the bay to get new cars in. So, it's important. But one of the statistics that we specifically know at Bolt-On is that we see a 6-minute response time in comparison with people using text compared to when people are answering the phones and picking up to
And that's
to
a
dial.
convenient number, because a lot of shops do labor hours, 6/10. 6 minutes is 1/10. So there you go. You just saved how many tenths because they got back to you on 1/10.
Exactly. So it's just a new, simpler way to communicate. And, I bet that a lot of these shop owners as well, they actually might be texting their customers directly from their phones, which, okay, that's they're moving into that texting ability, but it's not integrated in with their software where they can have that vehicle history and that communication history already ingrained with all the software that they're using. They kind of lose it, through their own personal messages. They have friends, family, other coworkers texting them. It's easy for clients text to get missed in there as well.
And the big issue with that, Shannon, is the fact that you guys work, you ladies all work really hard. You got long hours and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And you are doing a favor by giving your number out to your customers. But what happens when they text you on a Saturday night?
Oh, it happens all the time.
Or there's something that you're involved with, a personal thing, and you don't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So we should separate the texting from personal to business. And
sure.
Along the lines that you're saying is that most of the business text solutions keep all that communications.
Yes.
They time and date stamp it. So guess what? You've got a conversation that you can share with anybody.
Exactly. And then, I think we've actually talked about this in previous live streams, but you always have a few customers that come into the shop, have a higher bill than they expected. And they're like, no, wait, we didn't approve this. You don't necessarily have the ability to say, well, on our phone call, you mm-hmm. said this, and this. Mm-hmm. But if you pull up a text message and say, you know what, actually you approved all of this. This is the digital vehicle inspection
right.
that we sent over. You knew that the brakes weren't looking too great. It was something that you weren't expecting, but hey, we recommended you get this done and you approved it. So you have that also, like, transparency, not only on, what the services that are being done, but then there's also transparency coming from the customer as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very important.
And I'm sorry for trying to cut you off because
mm-hmm.
I want to text right now. But anyway, he said, she said, sometimes you get caught in the middle between Mr. and Mrs.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yeah.
And this is another one of those things that's not going to be a problem because each individual has their own phone number.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be under them. And now we can say, okay, well, you might need to have a conversation with your better half.
Sure. Yep. It's not uncommon. And, when we look at it, we know that text messaging is less time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
It's typically more convenient for your customers just in general. We know that, 78% of people wish that they could text a business.
Mm-hmm.
And then that opportunity to record the conversations, it just makes the experience at your automotive shop that much more enjoyable and stress-free. And that's not to say there are going to be some customers that come in that prefer phone calls. And that's your opportunity. This is when you really get to personalize your experience. If you know that, Mr. So-and-so doesn't text, he prefers a phone call, and he knows that he will be hearing back from you around the hours of 2 to 4 p.m. to get their vehicle picked up, then go ahead and give them a call. But for everyone else, if you know that texting is the easiest way for them, make it easier on your shop and on your team and send them a text.
Well, you know something? We're really missing something here.
What are we missing?
If I can persuade half of my people or 3/4 of my people to accept text, it leaves so much time open for talking to the other 1/4. Mm-hmm. Think about that. It's a two-edged sword, but it's a positive two-edged sword.
Mm-hmm.
If I can persuade more of my customers to just text back and forth, it opens up the phones. And if they want to call, it's going to be easier for me to get to them and them mm-hmm. to get to me. And the same thing with those customers that don't accept the technology.
Sure.
So that's crazy. Didn't even think about that till just now.
Mm-hmm. And we hear it all the time. It's always people are coming in through your door when you're on the phone. You know what I mean? So if we can eliminate some of those issues, then, we're doing a good thing for everybody at the shops.
Yes. And as I said, there's a lot of text and all this stuff. Look it up because it's pretty crazy how fast it's growing. So, we've said a lot about it. Mm-hmm. I think we're about ready to say sayonara, maybe?
Sayonara, yeah.
Well, I did look. I was doing some looking up for statistics, and I wonder if you can make the connection between this and the statistics about texting today.
Everybody's texting while they're in the bathroom?
Yes, because ladies and gentlemen, the bathroom now is the new phone booth. Because notice these things are disappearing, so now you're in there standing in line trying to get your spot while somebody's in there texting. But it gets even better.
Oh no, where are we going with this?
Well, it's all about
This is not prepared. This is live TV, ladies and gentlemen.
The study shows, and this is a bit a while ago, this is 2013, of the world's estimated 7 billion people, 6 billion people have access to phones, but only 4.5 billion have access to toilets or working toilets. So we have a problem. We have too many people with phones using the toilets as phone booths. That's going to cause a problem. Get it?
That's going to cause a problem.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And here's one last thing. I guess that
I know what's coming with this.
Another study says that 19% of people drop their phones down the toilet.
And there you have it.
There it is. There are some oddball statistics that prove that texting is now becoming the way you need to communicate.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think we wrapped it all up with that one. Let us know if you're using texting at your shop. We want to hear, what is your experience like? How are your customers enjoying it? Give us some feedback. Let us know if it's something that you are interested in implementing in your shop. Make sure you reach out to one of the team members here at Bolt-On Technology. We can tell you a little bit about some of the programs that we have that allow you to text in your shop.
And the beauty of it, too, some of it's automatic. So text going out automatically, you don't even have to think about it. Just program and let her go.
There you go. So there you have it. We're going to get back to our texting conversations, and we will see you next week.
So long.
Bye-bye.